friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have a quick and easy card for you to show off the Charming Day bundle that appeared in the July online exclusives on the 1st of July. This is Charming Day, has these beautiful blooms, pretty font here, with the sayings, thanks and happy birthday. Can't wait to see you again soon. That's a great sentiment to put in a card. And it comes with these dies here. I'm going to be using 2 of these dies. And also this die and this die cut out the actual blooms. And this one as well for these branches here. But then you have these extraneous dies here. And this rose here. And this bigger one. And this set of leaves. So we're also going to be using the Meant to Be dies. Now these are still available. These were also an online exclusive a while back. And we're going to be using the 3rd one down and the 2nd one down from the largest. As you can see, I have a little bit of paper in there. I wanted to show you how these dies actually have, when you cut out the size of the die, you can also get a border. So I've been playing around with these and I have a stack of little borders that I'm going to be doing something with. So you get the little border, but you also get the inside of the die that we're going to be using here on this card. So we're going to be using, as I said, the 2nd and the 3rd down. I love these hexagons. The biggest one can actually make a card that would be made into an hexagon. And this came with the Cute as a Bee bundle that we had, but this one actually has dies to cut out a larger bee and a smaller bee, but the punch is actually another different size. So you've got 3 different options there with those bees. Okay, so let's take a look at this beautiful paper. This paper is called the Charming Day paper. It is so pretty. It had this pretty floral in here. It says the color in here is Timid Tiger, but I think it's more of a petal pink in there and Cajun Craze, so I went with that. But the back of them have a nice coordinating color that matches the inside. So if you're going to do the other side, not the inside. If you're going to do one of those cards that folds over something and you want to just use, look how nice that coordinates there. So all of them. This one looks very familiar from like maybe a different style we had before, but it also has the peach pie in it. Really pretty florals. So the card that I made here, got 2 packs there. The card that I made, this one here, I used Pretty Peacock because the leaves in the DSP are Pretty Peacock and Night of Navy. And I went with the Night of Navy and used the peacock. If I had this to do over again, I think I probably would have made these leaves the Pretty Peacock and made navy around the outside. But really, there are both color leaves in there. So let me show you how I went about making this simple little fun fold. And I'm using the other pattern in there that has the pretty petal pinks, I think, and the Cajun Craze. So I went with the Cajun Craze card base, and that was a 5.5 by 8.5, and then I scored it at 4 1/4 on the 8.5 inch side. And then I scored it at 1 1/2 also. So when I put it in there, I went 1 1/2, 4 1/4. And I have this little piece that flaps backwards here. Okay, and so that then gave me the opportunity to use a 1 1/2 inch, a 1 1/4 inch, and all of them are 5 1/4 high. And then normally I would cover this whole back here, cover this all in, but I only covered this much because at the end game of this card, you could adhere down this flap or you can leave it open, but it saved me some paper and I had exactly 2 packs to make cards for class, and I didn't have enough to actually put on that 1 extra 3/4 of an inch. It was that tight. So I just did it that way. And like I said, you could actually adhere this down here. So I'm going to go ahead and put and the nice thing about this DSP is it does have a direction, but if you put it upside down, like here's the direction that is upwards. So if you want to know which direction it is, but if you put it on upside down, I don't think you would even be able to tell. And I just put this 1 1/2 on this piece on the inside of the card, just keeping 1/8 inch around the top top, bottom, and the left side. Then I had a 2.5-inch side that I stamped Can't Wait to See You Again. And this is 2.5 by 5.25. So that gives me a little 1/8 inch border around that piece on both sides. Easy peasy. I love when you can do a card and it's simple, but somebody is literally thinking, wow, that is really complex, because just a simple little fold. So then we're going to put, and you see here, this is the directional way, and then you just kind of keep your eye to make sure your DSPs are lining up right here and here. Okay, and this one was 1.25, so a 12 by 12 sheet, you are going to get 9/18, and with this one you get 8, you get 16. So if you're making cards for a class or something, or a whole bunch because you just love to like make multiples, then you could get, out of those 4 sheets, you could get 32 cards. Yes, and so you can adhere this down if you want, or it doesn't look bad just having this. It doesn't look bad seeing that there either. No problem, because you're looking at it this way. And see how it doesn't really matter if they match up. I'm sure when I cut them, they did match up, and now they don't. So then I went ahead and used Cajun Craze as my hexagon here, and you'll see this hexagon is exactly 4.25. That's why you could use this to make an actual card this way and open it up this way. So we're going to put that on with the points going towards the sides here. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some adhesive right here in the middle there, and give top and bottom, and then like I said, side to side, you're just going to keep your little hexagon, or your hexagon points right there. Okay, I went ahead and stamped the next size down. Oh, I stamped it the other way. So guess what? This card is going to be a little different. You can do it either way. Okay, so we're going to put this one, you're going to see a little bit of flowers on each side, but this is just dandy because I'm going to turn it this way so I can get a better eye look at it. There we go. Since I stamped it that way, I don't know. Do I want to re-stamp that, or do I want to show everybody you could do it 2 different ways? The only thing with it is your eye wants this to be in the center. So I'm going to actually turn it back the way I had it. I like it that way. And we can easily, what am I doing? This way. Okay, get the same amount of space and there we go. So we're just going to run this one through one more time here, and it's okay because I have a piece of paper ready for die cutting, so that's not a problem. I don't have to look for anything. It's right here. And I was preparing myself before the video not to have to do this. And what did I do? I stamped it in the wrong direction. Okay, so here we go. I do like it better that way. But actually this is off center too, so I guess it probably wouldn't have mattered. So maybe we should. Wonder how this will end up. Actually, I think we are going to turn that around, okay? Because actually I didn't realize this is off center as well, so it doesn't really matter here. I was trying to make it centered. So this way, when we make this at class, they can decide which way they want to do it. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and pop this here in the center here, layering those hexagons. Okay. And I took and put a little bit of a blue, a mossy meadow flower up here So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive right under here where I didn't remember to do. Okay, and then we're just going to pop that in there, tucking it to give a little bit of eye appeal on that side there. And then I have a little blobble there, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that with the flowers. Now I die cut 2 sets of the flowers. I did them in mossy and I did them in petal pink, and then I just snipped off the leaves off of the petal pink. So I snipped off these leaves here, here, and here, and then I'm just going to save these for another project, just another thing to have on my desk. And then I'm just going to put some glue on the petals of the flower here. And this little guy here and down here. Okay, and then you just take the one that you make sure all the little pieces are out, and then you just lay it right on top of the mossy meadow. Oh, I guess I didn't, I'm gonna actually do this because on the other card, I didn't put this posy in here. Notice that little blue there, the navy, but on this one, I'm actually going to snip that off because I had it laying on my desk. Okay, so then I'm just gonna put that right up there. I don't know, do I like that? I might be snipping that off altogether. No, I think it looks great. Okay, now we're gonna take our dimensionals, and a little trick I did with my dimensionals is I just snipped them in half. So I had some smaller ones, and then I'm able to just put them easily behind. That was a bigger one, so here's a, let me see here. There. Wait, I put that upside down. Wait, what's it have on here? Okay, does this have a, okay, one there. And I should be using my take your pick tool here. This will make it a lot easier for me. Put one here. And here's a small one here. I made a video the other day and I realized I was off camera a bit, so I'm so sorry when that one comes up that it's off center. I'll warn you. Sometimes I get moving on what I'm doing and I don't notice that I'm pulling it closer to myself. Okay, maybe another little one here. Okay, and then we'll play around with some of the leaves once we get it on there, okay? So I want to cover up that little bauble I made there. So I think I can do that with the flower right there. Okay, there we go. Doesn't that look pretty? And I have some of my trusty foil dots, gold foil dots that just always seem to go pretty with, they're iridescent, so they go pretty with the subtle colors like petal pink. And I'm gonna scatter that. Get one here. There we go. Let me see, one here, maybe one down here. Perfect. There, oh, down a little too far for my liking. There we go. Okay, so we've got those iridescent foil gems there. So isn't that, I mean, it's a very simple card, but just having that little fold in it, but it really showcases how pretty this DSP is. and the dies that go with it. How gorgeous are they? And we just folded it back 1.5 on our traditional card. We scored it at 4.25, then we scored it also at 1.5. We put 1.25 width by 5.25, and then these two are 1.5 by 5.25. And we use those great hexagons. Since these weren't in the catalog, I'll bypass looking at them, but these are a really great tool to have in your stamping toolbox. So I hope you will take a look at that Charming Day bundle. Really pretty font. You'll find it in the online exclusives. Just go on to the Stampin' Up website. You'll see on the right-hand corner, it'll say menu, hit the menu, and online exclusives come out. And this was a new one in July. So thanks for buzzing by, friends.